All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Chicago Bears in today's video. Minicamp, OTAs, all that fun stuff is officially over. We're about a month away from training camp, and these rookies, man, specifically these first rounders, we're hearing great things about Caleb Williams. Rome Odunze looks absolutely phenomenal. But this Chicago Bears team is going to be pretty relevant, in my opinion. They're going to be super competitive this upcoming season, especially in the first half. The Chicago Bears have such a team-friendly, rookie quarterback-friendly first half of their schedule where they don't see a divisional opponent until the second half of the season. And by then, the thought process is, you're around 500. Hopefully, Chicago's a couple of games above 500, and you've had half a season. So you're getting that chemistry. If you're Caleb Williams, you've had half a season to get ready for this. And, you got Eberflus's jobs on the line, folks. You just flipped from Luke Getsy to Shane Waldron. He wants to make an impact. But Matt Eberflus's job is on the line right here, right now. And Ryan Poles knows that Chicago Bears fans are excited that we got Caleb Williams, but you're going to start to need to see some results relatively quickly, even if it's not necessarily like a 12-5 season. But Chicago will be around 500. I think they'll be at least 9-8. In fact, I would probably pencil them in for 9-8 this upcoming season, but you never know. They could definitely exceed it, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. Before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Bears and NFL content. Bears fans, if we try and get this video to about 100 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So, defensively, I think this team looks really good. You're a top 10 defense in the second half of the season. Montez Sweat, sounded kind of silly when Montez Sweat was acquired and he was making such an impact on the Chicago Bears defense, like immediately. It was kind of crazy because the sample size was so long, it was so low, right? And then as the weeks progressed, and Sweat keeps getting sacks, he keeps disrupting game plans, making life miserable for whoever was going up against him week to week to week. The Bears defense continues to statistically improve. The eye test, the defense keeps improving. It sounded kind of crazy to think that Montez Sweat was such a big difference maker right away. But then once again, the weeks just kind of stacked on top of each other. The Bears have a star dude right here in Montez Sweat. So the first thing I was reading on this Chicago Bears to-do list, that Bleacher Report does like a 32-team to-do list, and I disagreed actually with quite a bit of the Chicago Bears ones, but we're going to go through it. The first and foremost, and this was a huge priority in mock drafts with Dallas Turner potentially going pick number 9, is obviously going to be finding a second edge rusher. But Montez Sweat was a huge move. So here's what they had to say. The Chicago Bears defense could use another pass rusher to play on the other side of Montez Sweat. While they drafted Austin Booker to potentially fill that role, the 5th round pick is a project and might not be ready for action in year 1. So the front office should explore its options via trade or free agency to find another third down rusher on the edge. I don't necessarily hate this idea. Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker last season was really interesting because 17 games played, 12 starts, 3.5 sacks, 30 total tackles. However, he did have 9 tackles for loss, and he did have 16 total quarterback hits. I don't think DeMarcus Walker had all that bad of a season. I don't know what you're going to get in free agency at this point in time for a good enough price that makes sense. That's going to be like this crazy drastic upgrade from DeMarcus Walker. Don't sleep on your new draft pick. Austin Booker could 100% come in and make an impact. But the point is, the depth isn't that crazy. Jacob Martin, DeMarcus Walker, Austin Booker's going to find ways to get playing time. I would say, rather than finding somebody in free agency right now, at this point in free agency, I would wait. And I would potentially wait even up until the trade deadline, just like they did last year. Let's say the Chicago Bears are sitting here at 4-2, 5-3. The trade deadline rolls around and it's like, all right, we could use another edge rusher. This defense is clearly top 10. We might, have a shot at winning this division if we can go 4-2, 5-1 in the divisional games. Let's trade for another star defensive edge rusher. But yeah, my point is, I think Trevon Dexter is really good, and we're going to get into this right here because the second to-do list on that was add an interior pass rusher. And here is the explanation. On a similar note, Chicago's pass rush could use some help on the inside as well. While Gervon Dexter had a solid performance as a rookie, the team doesn't have many options beyond him, and the group lacks depth overall. It couldn't hurt to add some defensive tackles to the mix and see who can consistently put pressure on the quarterback in training camp. So I'm sure you guys saw on Twitter, it all stemmed from a couple of weeks ago. Some dude was kind of like flaming Gervon Dexter on Twitter, and he was like, I'm going to save this. And a couple of days ago, we saw his screensaver, and it was like 8+ sacks. He wants to be an all-pro player. He wants like 15 or 20 tackles for a loss. Gervon Dexter, Florida Gator, he really improved at the end of last season. His snap count continuously rose throughout last season. He finished the season playing just a little under 50% of the snaps. Andrew Billings, Zach Pickens out of South Carolina, last year's rookie. Once again, I don't really think these are moves the Chicago Bears desperately need to make. The defensive line was a huge concern heading into the offseason, but it was not bad. And in fact, it was good in the second half of last season. So I think that's why you didn't see another huge edge rusher get picked up. I don't think that's why you saw another interior pass rusher get picked up. I think they feel really freaking good about Gervon Dexter Sr.'s sophomore campaign here. All right, moving on. Sign a veteran corner. At first, I did not like this because you've got Jalen Johnson. I mean, your secondary is stacked. Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, Tyreek Stevenson, cornerback number 2, Kyler Gordon in the nickel. But then I was looking at the depth and I was thinking, all right, you know what? Maybe a veteran corner off of the bench wouldn't be that bad because I don't want to take snaps away from Tyreek Stevenson, right? But I also don't want to go out there and get a Stephon Gilmore who started 17 games for the Dallas Cowboys last season. So, Jalen Johnson's a second-team All-Pro. The dude's a stud. Thank goodness the Chicago Bears re-signed him. But Tyreek Stevenson did get picked on a little bit last season. The second most targets, 110 of any quarterback. He allowed the second most receptions at 72, 100.4 passer rating per PFF. But we saw so many picks. We saw so many almost picks. Like, we saw so many flashes that I don't want to bring in, obviously, like a Patrick Peterson or a Stephon Gilmore. I don't know if Xavier Howard got picked up yet, but like, I don't need a dude like that. I just want a more depth player just in case Stevenson is dealing with a sophomore slump or if somebody gets injured. So I don't think it's the worst thing. That one wasn't too bad. Let me know what you guys are thinking down below. And then finally, you have add a center. Now, I think that's like, I think Ryan Bates is extremely underrated. I know he only has 1 year of starting experience. That's why you have Coleman Shelton as your backup center. But I think Ryan Bates is just significantly slept on across the NFL. And I think the Chicago Bears found themselves a solidified, reliable center. They wanted him in last year's offseason, when, stayed at Buffalo, right? I think they got themselves the long-term center. I think Ryan Bates is super underrated. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know if you guys want the Chicago Bears to make any moves. Let me know with a positional group or a player you got your eye on. But thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Bears content. We will see you soon.